If I told you that a plain baked potato can raise your blood sugar faster than a spoonful of sugar, would you believe me? Most people spend years watching their sugar intake, cutting soda, skipping dessert, reading labels for the word sugar, and that's a good habit. But there's a carbohydrate sitting in your kitchen right now, one that doesn't taste sweet at all, that your body treats almost exactly like sugar the moment it hits your bloodstream. Today I want to show you what it is, why it's so easy to miss, and, more importantly, what to eat instead so your blood sugar stays steady, your energy stays even, and your long-term heart and metabolic health stay protected. Stick with me to the end, because I'll walk through exact meals and swaps you can start using tonight. I'm Dr. Alex Varsakis. On this channel, we talk about the everyday choices that quietly shape how well we age, our hearts, our brains, our energy, and our blood sugar. Today's topic matters because blood sugar isn't just a diabetes issue. Sustained blood sugar spikes are linked to inflammation, fatigue, weight gain around the middle, and, over years, increased risk for heart disease. And the biggest driver of those spikes for most people isn't candy or soda, it's refined starch. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which foods to watch for, how to read your plate instead of just the nutrition label, and which simple swaps make the biggest difference. Here's something that surprises a lot of my patients. Not all carbohydrates behave the same way in the body. Think of carbohydrates on a spectrum. On one end, you have fiber-rich carbs, vegetables, legumes, whole intact grains that digest slowly. Your body has to work to break them down, so glucose enters your bloodstream gradually, like water trickling through sand. On the other end, you have refined starches, foods where the plant's natural structure has been stripped away, ground down, or cooked in a way that makes them very easy to digest. These behave less like water through sand and more like water through a wide open pipe. Fast in, fast up. That second category is what we need to talk about. There's a tool researchers use called the glycemic index. It ranks foods from 0 to 100 based on how quickly they raise blood sugar compared to pure glucose. Table sugar sits around 60 to 65 on that scale. A plain white potato, baked, boiled, or mashed, can score anywhere from 78 up to the high 80s, depending on how it's prepared. White bread scores similarly high. Instant rice and many breakfast cereals do too. That means, gram for gram, some of the starches we consider safe because they aren't sweet actually spike blood sugar more aggressively than sugar itself. This isn't about fear. It's about recalibrating what "watch out for sugar" should really mean. The tricky part is that this isn't one single food. It's a category, and it hides in places people don't expect. White rice and rice-based dishes. White bread, bagels, and most standard sandwich rolls. Potatoes, especially peeled, mashed, or instant varieties. As many box cereals, even ones labeled low-fat or heart-healthy. Crackers and pretzels. Rice cakes. Often marketed as a diet food, yet among the highest glycemic index snacks you can eat. I had a patient once, I'll call her Carol, who was proud that she'd swapped potato chips for rice cakes to eat healthier. Her blood sugar readings didn't improve. When we looked closer, the rice cake swap was actually working against her, because that food digests almost as fast as pure glucose. When you eat a food that digests quickly, your blood sugar rises sharply. Your pancreas responds by releasing a burst of insulin to bring it back down. If this happens meal after meal, day after day, two things tend to happen over time. First, that rapid rise and fall pattern often leaves you hungrier and more tired an hour or two later, which is why a big bowl of white rice or mashed potatoes can leave you reaching for a snack by mid-afternoon. Second, repeated sharp insulin responses, over months and years, can contribute to insulin resistance, a state where your cells stop responding as well to insulin's signal. That's a major stepping stone toward prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. This isn't just about blood sugar numbers. Elevated blood sugar and insulin resistance are closely tied to higher triglycerides, lower HDL, good cholesterol, and increased inflammation in blood vessels, all of which raise cardiovascular risk over time. So when we talk about protecting your heart, the conversation can't stop at cut the salt and watch the saturated fat. What's on your plate in the form of refined starch matters just as much. Here's the good news. You don't have to give up carbohydrates. You just have to choose the ones that digest slowly. Some swaps that make a real difference. Swap white rice for basmati rice, quinoa, or barley. All digest more slowly and have a meaningfully lower glycemic impact. Swap white bread for dense, whole grain or sourdough bread. The fermentation and denser structure slow digestion. Swap mashed or baked potatoes for sweet potatoes with the skin on, or better yet, lentils or beans as your starch source. Swap boxed cereal for steel-cut oats or plain oats, not the instant packets. Swap rice cakes and pretzels for a small handful of nuts or hummus with vegetables. One simple rule of thumb I give patients: the less processed and the more intact a carbohydrate is, the gentler it tends to be on blood sugar. If you can still see the original shape of the food, a bean, a grain, a whole vegetable, that's usually a good sign. Let's make this real. Picture a typical lunch: a turkey sandwich on white bread, a side of potato chips, and a glass of juice. That plate is almost entirely fast-digesting carbohydrate, stacked 3 times over. Now picture the same lunch, adjusted. Turkey on dense whole grain bread, a side of raw vegetables with hummus instead of chips, and water or unsweetened tea instead of juice. Same effort, same time to prepare. A completely different effect on your blood sugar for the next 3 to 4 hours. Something else worth knowing: the order you eat food in a meal can soften a blood sugar spike. Eating vegetables and protein first and saving the starch for last has been shown in research to blunt the rise in blood sugar compared to eating the starch first. It costs nothing and takes no extra time. Just eat your salad or your chicken before your rice. Next time you're at the store, here's a simple habit. Shop the outer edges first: produce, proteins, dairy, before heading into the center aisles where the refined grains and boxed products live. And when you do pick up a bread or cereal, check that the first ingredient is a whole grain, not enriched wheat flour. To sum up, it's not just sugar you need to watch. Refined starches, white rice, white bread, potatoes, and many boxed cereals can spike your blood sugar just as fast, sometimes faster. The fix isn't to fear carbohydrate. It's to choose the slower digesting, less processed versions, and to build your plate with vegetables and protein first. If this helped you look at your plate a little differently, I'd love to hear which swap you're going to try first. Leave it in the comments. And if you want to go deeper on protecting your blood sugar and your heart at the same time, I've got another video that walks through exactly that, right here. I'm Dr. Alex Varsakis. Take care of yourself. I will see you soon with my next video.